All right, let's talk about Split. Now, I have seen Glass since recording this, although I watched this days ago. I just haven't had time to record my damn spoiler discussion on it. But, all right, so this was my second viewing of it. I haven't seen it since it came out. And as I said in my Unbreakable breakdown, I had not seen that since the release of it. So this is a film that I'm not extremely familiar with, a franchise that I'm not extremely familiar with. But I was looking forward to Glass because I did really enjoy this one, and I did really enjoy the Unbreakable film. And on my second viewing of both, I really did enjoy both of them as well. Again, I will say that I did enjoy Unbreakable more than this, even though I think this film has the better performance of the two films in the Kevin character here, played by James McAvoy, or however many names you want to say, 23 distinct personalities, although I think we only see like 10 of them in this entire film, if not less. But man, he really nails it. I think that the Hedwig character is one that that a decent amount of people seem to harp on and think is not great. I love it. I feel like he plays that so well. His performance in this, I mean, we can't say enough good about it. You know, personally, I just feel like it's going to be one of those unappreciated performances that wouldn't get any Oscar nominations or anything, but they seriously should consider it, seeing as how he's playing so many different roles in the same film and sometimes in the same moment, in the same scene. And he even has characters in this movie where he is one character, but he's that character pretending to be a different character. So he's like that Robert Downey Jr. I'm the dude who's the dude, you know, that whole line. I thought that was great. But yeah, so, all right. So we got Anya Taylor-Joy in this, which, as I've said in the past, anything she's in instantly makes it just intriguing and amazing to me, because I adore the girl. I can't say enough good about her. So yet again, another thing I can't say enough good about. So I won't spend too much time blowing either one of them in this. All right, so we get the opening story here, and we have these two girls who, Kevin, or whatever you want, we'll just call him Kevin for the time because that's his real name. He's following these girls around. So they go out to the car, and we find out that, you know, Anya Taylor-Joy's character, Casey here, was not invited. They didn't want her to come, but she was the only girl they weren't going to invite because she's the weird girl. She's still fucking gorgeous, so I would think that people would be a little more friendly with her. Maybe not girls, but the boys, no matter how weird she was, would be going after that freaking little goddess. But yeah, so they go out to the car, and I think that whole sequence, yes, it's blown in the trailer, unfortunately, and we saw that trailer so many damn times, but it is a very cool series of shots and events and whatnot in that moment when she looks back in the thing. It's just a really well shot scene. It's a very tense scene. It's a very realistic scene in a lot of ways. She just looks back and she hears something, and she doesn't see anything, and then she looks over and she hears the guy get in the car, and she just kind of looks over at the stuff, and she sees it on the ground, and she's like, uh-oh, and she like slowly turns and she freezes. She just freezes. And you know, the friends are in the back and they're freaking out, and he goes and he attacks them because those are his targets. Anya's not even supposed to be there, and until she grabs the door and tries to leave, does he not even acknowledge her existence in that moment. He looks over and he's like, oh, you're here too, I guess I better take you as well. But this kind of plays throughout the film because we find out that her uncle obviously got a little too friendly with her out in the woods, which is, you know, almost a little too textbook. You know, it's kind of funny to me because it's like a lot of the jokes and a lot of stuff, it's always the uncle out in the woods taking you out camping, and that's when the molestation happens, for a lot of, you know, jokes coming from and whatnot. So it is what it is. But we find out that she is out there with him, and she hesitates to shoot him, so she does freeze under the pressure of that stuff. And she's been living with him and has kind of abused herself for so long. So she's just somebody who normally takes the abuse, who freezes up, who doesn't do anything. She kind of, you know, brings it more inwards towards herself. Now, the cuts and whatnot on herself might be abuse from him. We don't know. We don't know if it's self-masochistic to deal with the pain. And I've known a lot of cutters in my life. So that's, I guess, why I fill in the blanks there, that she's the one doing the cutting. Because in my experience with people like that, she has those scars because she's a cutter. That's how she deals with it. But it does play to the film throughout, because we do see that she does kind of freeze up. But I do love the arc of her in this, that she kind of overcomes that and does pull the trigger later in the movie. And all right, moving on. But yeah, then the credits play and there's multiple names all over the screen. You know, I thought that was cute. And then the friend, you know, he comes through the door, he grabs the friend, and she tells her, like, pee on yourself. Pee on yourself. Like, it'll gross him out because she thinks he's going to rape her. And I don't know, maybe he would have. He likes to watch girls dance. I don't know if he would have went more sexual with it. We don't really know that side of him all that much, but he's making her dance for him. He likes to look at young girls naked. She got out of it, though, by peeing on herself, and that guy just does not like dirty clothes. But yeah, so then they decide, like, let's all three of them rush the guy and beat the shit out of him. And I'm with them. I think that would be the best plan. They're in there. They're not tied up. All three of them probably could overpower him. But she's like, did you see? He can pick him up. So there are moments in this film where it's like, so is the beast real or not? And I think that plays well because earlier in the film, she's like, did you see him? He picked her up like she's nothing. So he is still a strong guy even before he becomes the actual beast, which we know to be real now. But at this point in the film, you're still like, is he actually a beast or is he not? Is this all in his mind? Is it not? And I think that actually foreshadows that. It makes it still shaky. I'm like, is this guy crazy? He's definitely crazy, but you know what I mean. And I already said all that. I think when it's like when he comes into the room dressed as a woman, I think that's when they realize they're screwed. Like, they're just like, oh, okay, he's this kind of crazy. Like, wow, he's way out there. We stand no damn chance. We find out he has 23 personalities and one that has yet to come to fruition, but it's coming soon. And when she meets Hedwig, Casey tells him that the beast is actually coming for him to try to scare him. I thought that was good. I like the mental games that she plays with him in this film. I thought their relationship throughout and her connection to multiple different characters, because she had to build a relationship, which is further explored in Glass, and something that I really like about Glass. I like her relationship with the multiple personalities that she meets and how she has to kind of differently interact with each of them, because she's dealing with essentially a completely different person each time. And I do like how that really all plays out there. I think she does a great job of bouncing back off of him as if she's acting with different characters in the film, which is hard to do. And then the friend tries to break out. He grabs her and he separates them, putting her in a different location, which is, you know, just scary. That whole sequence is terrifying for these young girls. It sucks. And I like the whole exploration of this DID, you know, this dissociative identity disorder. I like it. I like the way they play around with it. Like, and I don't know the true facts of it, but it is very interesting if this is true, that the identity dictates the person's physical and intellectual capabilities. Like, they are actually physically different. One suffers from diabetes and has to take insulin. One is much weaker and thinks he's a child. One's a woman, and one has high blood pressure and the other one doesn't. And it shows you the strength of the mind. And anybody who suffers from anxiety as bad as I do understands how strong the mind can be over the body and how it can really dictate everything going on in your inner workings. And if you did believe you were a completely different person, I mean, she talks about how like two different personalities can exist in one moment, and the person is taking notes with two separate hands because the brain is actually two different people. One's left-handed, one's right-handed, and they're actually able to write that way. That's crazy to me. And I think it's definitely realistic. I would expect that this is true stuff in that regard. I don't think they become mythological freaking super villain beasts or anything, but I do think that one could think they were frail and one could think they were super strong, and their bodies would fall in line to that. I do like that the doc thinks that his abilities is the key to unlocking unlimited potential. She thinks that, yeah, if they can study that kind of mind, I do think that kind of plays into Glass a little bit. No spoilers for Glass, but I do think I would like to watch them back to back for like, and really be paying attention with notes and everything on Glass to be able to connect what I think is connected. And I like that the personalities in his head actually ban other personalities from coming to what he calls the light, which is like the center stage, which is in control of the body in that moment. And as I said, one personality impersonating a different personality, because who knows who you're dealing with, but there's one personality who's trying to pretend to be a different personality. And so he's having to be that actor who's pretending to be one character through a different character. Interesting stuff, man. He really asked a lot of McAvoy in this film, and I think he delivered in this one and in the next one. I think the performance is pretty comparable. He gives an equal performance in both. They're both fantastic. And who is the dominant personality? I guess that's because it's like, is Kevin even? He's not. He hasn't been in the light much. So I think that Patricia, I think is supposed to be the dominant personality, but you see this other guy a lot as well. There seems to be like three main personalities that you see throughout the film, and the real guy is not one of them. And the whole idea behind the Horde and what their intentions are and how he wants to go out and punish people who have not understood pain. He thinks that's their salvation. Rejoice, like you're broken. Like he thinks that these people are more evolved if they've went through suffering and misery. And the people he followed have never known anything, and that they can't, evolve if they don't suffer. So he's there to punish people because he was punished as a child, and I'm guessing this is his attempt to make sense of it. He thinks that you have to go through that. This is a rite of passage, and if he went through it, then you're going through it. You're not getting away. It's unfair. I don't know if that's exactly how it goes, but that does feel how it is. And this girl wasn't supposed to be with them, so it makes sense that she's a broken person and that he become kind of fascinated with her because he feels something different in her. And then in the end, he realizes why, and he sees all the scars on her body. It had to be physical scars because you can't see mental ones. But he sees them, and then he's like, like, you're already there. We're good. You can go. The whole kissing scene, I do like the relationship between them. It does become fairly believable. She's broken, and she feels sorry for him. It's not really his fault. It's these, it's a body inhabiting. I mean, just imagine putting 23 people in a room and having them live in a room together all the time, day and night. They would fucking hate each other. They'd be at each other's throats all the time. There'd be good people. There'd be bad people. There'd be all this. And unfortunately, a lot of the times, bad people are willing to do worse things and invoke people's fears and push them down. And so they kind of get in higher positions. So if you're fighting for the microphone, so to speak, if you're fighting for center stage, a lot of the bad people kind of come to the forefront, and a lot of the better people, the good people, would kind of stay down and corner themselves in a room, and that's kind of how his mind is. And to think that he has all these people in there, and that these dominant personalities are kind of fighting and jockeying for that limelight, the light as he calls it, and then they kind of have their lackeys, so to speak, that come out in moments as well, because I don't know why Hedwig is able to come out. Maybe because he's not as threatening, because he's only 9 years old, 9 years old forever. That's why he's able to kind of share the light with them. I don't know. But let's see. And then, yeah, I mean, it makes me wonder if he ever sleeps. Do these people need sleep? Like, when they're in there sleeping, like, are they sleeping? And then when he wakes up through the other ones, does this guy ever sleep? I would think that his physical body would actually need sleep. But I don't know. I would say yes, but it just made me wonder about it, because he's got to have enough time in the day to freaking have all these people. And you find out that if you ever use Kevin's full name, you can bring him out of his delusion, which I think you'd be using that thing a whole hell of a lot, especially the therapist, who would probably be like trying to talk to the real Kevin through the sessions, but who knows how many times she's seen him at this point. And she probably wants to get to know the other ones. His belief in the beast is very, attached to whether or not the beast can actually come out. And so her challenging whether the beast is really there and really a thing is a very strong part of this movie, and Glass as well. As I said, I'm not going to get too much into the spoilers. I'm not going to spoil anything in Glass, but I do like that that's retained throughout this film and the next film as well. So yeah, Anya is kind of playing head games with him in this one. And we find, Hedwig's dance, oh shit, funny stuff, really fun stuff. It could be compared to the one in Ex Machina with Oscar Isaac. It's pretty freaking great. I love it. This one's a little more funny. The one in Ex Machina is a little more cool. The uncle molested her. We already freaking know that. Awful scene. Just a tough thing to watch, man. What a piece of shit. That guy, that actor, man, he always plays pieces of shit. He's typecasted at this point. He's probably a great guy in reality. And the personality started in him when he was 3 years old because of his mother's abuse. Yikes. And the doctor comes in, finds the girls, tries to release them. We see the more of his personalities on the computer screen, so we get to see even more characters, which is great. And he has to go to the train station. I think this has to deal with his father, leaving on the train, whatever. And then we also have him going. I guess that's the beast arriving, like coming. And the CGI veins on him, they're okay. I don't hate them. It works though. It's fine. The doctor tries to stab him, and the knife breaks. So I think that's the moment. And also when he's climbing around on the walls, it's like, oh, he really is the beast, which I thought was cool. I like that they went there. A lot of movies like this would have left it more ambiguous, would have left it open for interpretation. Like, was he not? This movie does not make you question that at all. By the time it gets to the beast, it's like, oh no, he's definitely the beast. He goes and he kills the two friends. Well, they're not really her friends, but the two cellmates is what we'll call her. And his name brings him out of it. We already said this. Anya Taylor-Joy uses it, or Casey, whatever you want to call her. And it breaks him out of it. Now, why the doctor doesn't use it, I don't know. I know she's pretty drugged, so maybe she can't speak. I'll use that as the excuse, but you would think that when she realizes he's in the room, before he grabs her, or even when he grabs her, she should have been like, saying his name. So I don't understand why she doesn't do that, but it is what it is. I do like when she says his name, he comes out of it, and he immediately, like, Kevin is a good guy. You can see it. He's like, did I hurt you? Who did that? Oh my God. He doesn't like it. He hates it. He freaks out, and he wants to revert back. Like, no, I don't want to deal with this. So I'm going to go back in my little cave. Now, they're in there interacting, I think, at all times. So I think they're almost all constantly having conversations or talking, and then whoever's in the limelight's kind of taking the microphone, as I said. But they still are in there having communication, because they're very aware of one another. It's not like they talk to him and they're like, hey, you know, this person is like, what are you talking about? I'm this person always. No, he has full constant interactions with these people. So I do think that they're in there at all times. But some are just kind of deeper in the others. And as I said, they ban others. Like there's ones that just don't ever come out because they're like, you're not ever getting the microphone. I have to point out Anya Taylor-Joy running in this movie with her, oh man, okay. Sorry to be crass, but fuck, man, it was a joy to watch. Jesus Christ. What a wonderful, wonderful looking girl. And yeah, her dad dies, so she has to go live with that uncle. Ugh, Jesus, man, how screwed up. Find out this takes place in the zoo basement, and they break. She finally gets out. The uncle shows up, and you're like, oh my God, she still lives with this guy. And when she sees it, it's like she got away from her captor, only to then be returned to her own captor that she's lived with almost her entire fucking life. And we find out that like, she purposely goes to detention so she doesn't have to go home, that she doesn't have to deal with things. She just can't handle this piece of shit. Oh my goodness. And that also plays into Glass as well, which is another part of Glass that I really dug. And yeah, and the fact that like all his personalities trust so deeply in the Beast. They all believe in him, what his message is, and all of that. And then, yeah, we get at the end of this, Dennis Dunn from Unbreakable obviously comes into this, setting up the sequel, which I think this is a really smart way to do a sequel to a film that's 19 years old. Get excitement. Gauge that excitement. Put them at the end. See if anyone gives a shit, instead of just being like, hey, we're going to make a sequel to a movie that's almost 20 years old that maybe a bunch of people like don't care about anymore. But doing this raises excitement. You get to see that excitement level. You tease it, and then you start working on it. It's a smart way. Very, very cool. And yeah, this was a fun flick. So I am now going to go review Glass really quick, but that will be spoiler free. So, adios.